Hey, I'm Sebastian from Ironskin, and here are your questions on how it's like to be a modern mail armorer. Your boy 76 and Kundeburg Happert are asking, how did you get into the field of armor making? How and why did you become a modern mail maker? Well, I grew up with a lot of craftsmen around me, and I particularly liked old crafts, manual crafts. And likely I also watched too much Lord of the Rings. With that as an inspiration, I felt enthusiastic to experiment with making chainmail rings. That was in the early days of the internet. I couldn't find much information on making chainmail, but I went to museums and studied the originals. I then created the website Ironskin to share what I learned. Other people connected with me and we learned together. With social media, it all got bigger. And eventually, I gave in and helped people with their own chainmail projects for money. Ironskin as a business was born. And today, we're 4 people working for Ironskin. Simon Metcalf is asking, how many hours to make a riveted mail shirt? Short sleeves and waist lengths. A short-sleeved mail shirt contains about 25,000 rings. It takes us a little less than 2 minutes to manually make a riveted ring from wire and to put it into the weave. With that, a short-sleeved shirt of mail takes about 800 hours to manufacture. That is equivalent to the work of half a year for one person. Luckily, we're 4 guys. A Carry Props is asking, how do you handle people not understanding the sheer amount of time when discussing costs or manufacturing time with a client? Good question. Well, for half a year's work, we are asking half a year's wage. People do understand that when we explain it. Sometimes they're initially surprised when they are expecting a cheap costume instead. It's not for everyone, only a few selected clients can go the full journey with us. Most of the times, and for most people, we are offering an alternative with rings that we buy in from India or other places. We work with that as a tailor works with fabric. It still requires good communication to match with the right clients. Manufacturing time, however, is not that big of an issue. Vusorovic is asking, do museums or other cultural institutions contact you for restoration or replica production? Yes, we've been working for museums in Germany and Switzerland. We got commissioned to build mail armor for the exhibition inside the famous Castle Wartburg, and we've been supplying the Crown of England. Museums also inquire us as advisors. Backend Chris 7987 is asking, what is the best part of working as a modern mail maker? The best part certainly is to get up and do creative work and to know that everything we do has a direct impact on the output. And then we go to sleep with the feeling of having done something valuable. It is extra rewarding to see the happiness in our clients. For most of them, it's a lifetime dream coming true. They save up and they travel far to get our mail armor. And when they finally get to wear it, they're often overcome by joy. Robin Harry Edwards is asking, how do you preserve the craft? And do you run workshops for the public? Well, the craft has been extinct already. Of course, it's worth to preserve what we modern people know about mail armor, but that knowledge is knowledge we derived from the objects in museums. There isn't a continuous tradition to be preserved. Nevertheless, we help to spread the word with the tools that you can buy on our website and the ever-growing stack of tutorials. And we run workshops too. You can find future dates for workshops on ironskin.com. Owen Tom Lloyd Designs is asking, is there much gatekeeping in the mail community as there is in other historical item reproduction? To understand this better, let's imagine we are approaching a hairdresser to teach us how to cut hair. The hairdresser wouldn't be worried about losing their job, because becoming a good hairdresser requires years of dedication and their hairstyles look visibly excellent. Everyone can see the difference, yet of course they would ask for compensation for the time used to explain things. In historical items reproductions, there's additional time and effort involved to develop skills and knowledge. And it's only through the compensation of a support base that people are in a position to share. I think the people around Mail Armor are quite open, and I aim to be open too. Silverwings Armory is asking, how many hours do you work? What would be the minimum to sustain your business? I work about 60 hours a week. That's a good balance for me between getting things done and not getting overworked. The good thing is that the times are flexible, but it's very hard to differentiate what is work and what isn't. Stuart's Entries is asking, any tips on avoiding repetitive strain injuries? It's very important to stop if your hands don't feel alright. Use good tools and use annealed rivets. Medieval Mayor is asking, can you make a living out of only mail making? Are you worried you have to go into another field? Indeed, it's difficult to make a living like that. Just recently I couldn't pay for the second helicopter pad on my yacht, so now my wife and I have to fly in the same helicopter. How pathetic is that? Well, jokes aside, after expenses and taxes, I earn about 25,000 euro a year, which is about as much as a janitor earns in Germany. That includes the tailoring, the activity on the website, YouTube, Patreon, you name it. I do this full time and I only do that. So yes, I'm making a living like that. And that is for the first time in Germany since the craft has been dead for 400 years. Of course, I'm worried, but I also trust in my creativity and I trust in you guys watching this. Bonberry56 is asking, did you ever try to outsource? Yes, in 2022 I approached a company that is selling medieval items. I went to their place in India for 3 weeks with plans to do business together. I had the idea to offer affordable, well-designed mail shirts, and I wanted to test whether I would be able to teach their workers advanced mail tailoring. I instructed the workers, but I wasn't happy with the quality of the outcome. And more than that, I wasn't happy with how their boss was treating the workers, which surely had an effect on the quality. When confronted with my remarks, the boss got angry. Furthermore, he demanded me to stop the specialized chainmail products that we sell on Ironskin and instead only sell their items. He wanted Ironskin to become another medieval retailer under their control, with the same generic helmets, drinking horns, and costumes that you find plenty of already. I couldn't do that. That company then threatened me that they would take advantage of what I taught them to flood the market with a rip-off version of my idea and to, quote, crush my pathetic little company. So my suspicion was confirmed that this wouldn't be a worthy partnership. I had seen enough and I left. Now in 2025, you find the results of their recklessness. There are mail shirts that look like copies of a faulty sample that I had left behind. You may wonder what is faulty about it, and I may explain that in a future video, so stay connected. Anyway, this company is actually multiple companies depending on the continent, with partnering vendors in Europe, USA and Australia, selling all kinds of medieval things. Some of their vendors openly communicate about the origin company, others take their own product photos and descriptions. There are even some shops from Eastern Europe which look as if they produce by themselves, but they are reselling stuff from India. You can imagine that I'm angry and asking you to boycott, yet this is not a war to win. And if it was about making loads of money, then we would just take a real job. You and us, we are in this medieval bubble to spread excitement about history and craft. We are here to take a break from the bullies of this world. It's not worth to interact with reckless people. It's not worth to alter yourself for the money. But it is worth to be creative and to be trusting and positive, even when there are disappointments. That is what I want you to get from this story. You can call me naive, and that may be true, but at the end of the day, everyone has to go to sleep and convince himself that he is a good guy and is living a meaningful life. And I can do that. If the story is still making you angry, then it is because you're thinking that creativity should be rewarded and recklessness should be punished. Don't be angry. You can vote with your purse. And we are very grateful for your purchases and donations and memberships on the website and on Patreon. If you're watching this years later and wonder what happened to Ironskin, then go on ironskin.com and check how we're doing. Thank you for watching, like, subscribe, and don't forget to clean your chainmail, because that's important.